Good morning, you crazy kids, and happy Monday. It's November 4th, 2019, and you're watching the Daily Mix TV. Hi, my name is Sean Patrick Hillman. Hope you guys had a great weekend, and remember to turn your clocks back on Saturday night. Lord knows, there have been plenty of times where I've forgotten to do that. On to the news. Looks like Google's going for a run. Google's set to acquire wearable device maker Fitbit for $2.1 billion early next year. While Alphabet-owned Google has developed smartphones as well as software to keep up with Apple and Samsung, this is their first venture into the crowded, fast-growing market for wearables, fitness trackers, and smartwatches. Now, despite weaker than expected sales of its new smartwatch model, Versa Lite, earlier this year, news of this deal sent Fitbit shares surging by more than 40% last week. Fitbit gained notoriety during the fitness tracker craze we had a few years back, but they took a backseat to category leader Jawbone, who had a wide range of products at that time after starting in the mobile headset business. Sadly, they got too big for their britches and filed for liquidation in 2017, which gave Fitbit its time to grow fast. Then with the launch of Apple Watch, things changed for the entire space, and Fitbit seems to be the only real competitor left. Now with Google acquiring it, you have to wonder, is this part of their plan to roll out wearables again, given the recent rumors that Google will relaunch Smart Glass? It was announced yesterday that McDonald's has fired its CEO Steve Easterbrook for having a consensual relationship with an employee that violated company policy. The Golden Arches board voted last week to remove Easterbrook, as he also resigned as board member, admitting in an email to employees to the relationship. McDonald's USA President Chris Kempczynski will take over as CEO. This is sad. Easterbrook drove the revival of the company's fortunes after a horrendous 2015, and none of us can forget the constant protests about, no vegetarian or vegan options at McDonald's, the constant issue with respect to hormones in the meat, those kinds of things. So during his tenure, the company's shares basically doubled in value while he rolled out new technology for the convenience of customers. Those new things included kiosks, a new app, which is actually pretty good, as well as other initiatives like the delivery exclusive option with Uber Eats for a number of years, which is now also rolled out to Grubhub. Folks, there's a reason why these policies exist. While many of you may not like them, in this era of Me Too and inequality allegedly everywhere, these policies are designed to protect both the company and the employees. I know, strange times in which we live, but you know what? Better to be safe than sorry. The hits just keep on coming for WeWork's ex-CEO Adam Neumann. He's been accused of pregnancy discrimination by his former chief of staff. In the complaint filed with the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission last week, Medina Barney stated that during her first maternity leave, she was replaced by a man making over twice her salary. She was then fired 6 months after she had her second child, shortly after she raised concerns that there was discrimination in the workplace. WeWork said it would fight the allegations. This is a perfect example of where WeWork went wrong. It basically netted out to be a Ponzi scheme for Adam Neumann with little to no regard for the employees he claimed to care for. Does this sound familiar to you? Well, that's exactly what's wrong with the millennial-driven tech entrepreneurial economy. It's a massive hypocritical bubble that will pop and leave a lot of carnage in its wake. Now, don't count JCPenney out just yet. The beleaguered department store is testing a new concept in Hearst, Texas, according to a report out of the Wall Street Journal. And if all goes well, they'll roll it out nationwide. The remodeled test store boasts a fitness studio, a video game lounge, and style classes. So it looks like CEO Jill Soltau is getting back to basics. And it's not about making cuts or closing doors. For Ms. Soltau, it really is about fixing the problem. So less, excess inventory, no more appliances. They're going to focus on product organization by category like work and casual and so on. For JCPenney, which has just had such a roller coaster ride the last decade, this is a brilliant move, and it's exactly what JCPenney's needs. I wish other retailers would step up in this fashion. Now, speaking of retail, sadly, there was no knight in shining armor to rush in and save at the last minute, for Barneys New York. Authentic Brands Group did announce that it has in fact completed the purchase of the intellectual property of Barneys New York with a sale price of $271.4 million. The bankruptcy court had approved the sale on October 31st, but Barneys and its supporters were given a window of 10 a.m. on Friday for other viable bids to come in. Sadly, no one knocked at that door. In a statement, Authentic Brands Group said it is committed to, quote, preserving the legacy of Barneys New York while positioning it for long-term growth through key partnerships that will expand its global presence as a lifestyle brand and luxury retail experience. Now, with the sale, the legendary flagship on Madison Avenue will become a pop-up retail experience exhibiting unique boutique experiences, art and cultural installations and exhibits, as well as entertainment. Now, while that sounds fun, and we'll get into this in a second, I don't necessarily know this is a good idea. Interestingly, ABG is partnering with Hudson's Bay's Saks Fifth Avenue, which will serve as the exclusive Barneys retail and e-commerce partner for both Barneys.com and BarneysWarehouse.com in the U.S. and Canada. Now, the first priority for these folks is to open an in-store Barneys New York at Saks shop on the 5th floor of Saks' flagship on Fifth Avenue. The retailer is also planning to launch Barneys shop-in-shops in key Saks markets in the U.S. and Canada as well. Now, the challenge I have to this is simple, and what I was alluding to before. While ABG is an incredible company, I mean, their CEO is brilliant, and they represent so many iconic and legendary brands in the licensing arena, this particular acquisition may be more of a challenge than they think. First off, Saks is not doing that well, even after an incredibly expensive store remodel at their flagship on 5th. Second, another pop-up venue is not what retail needs right now, especially in New York. We need stability and investment to pivot strategies so that consumers will return to brick and mortar, building a relationship such as what they once had, not a one-night stand. Now, I could be wrong here, but indications are that this is going to be an uphill battle. A new feature on the Daily Mix TV is launching today. You just can't make it up. It is a segment that talks about a completely unbelievable move, marketing initiative, or policy that has serious ramifications. And boy, is our first one a doozy. It looks like New York State Governor Andrew Cuomo is upping the ante on his signature bail reform program, wherein they may actually release nearly 900 city jailbirds to celebrate Christmas early this year. This one's, that's one thing because the program was announced earlier this year. But New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio is promising to follow up with even more gifts, free baseball tickets, movie passes, and gift cards to encourage the convicts, if you will, to return to court for their trials, procedures, etc. And these aren't just white-collar criminals we're talking about, folks. We're talking about criminally negligent homicide, aggravated assault of a child under 11, and people who have sold drugs on or near school property. So this does beg the question, what's the end game? Crime is already up. Now this is going to make it even worse. So right about now you're asking, why is this being brought up on a show about business and marketing and pop culture? Well, because at the end of the day, New York is a brand. And it's one that's always evolving, but until the last decade, it had solid footing. Now, not so much. No one really knows what New York stands for anymore, other than being anti-Trump and way overpriced. Tourism will begin to suffer if crime continues to skyrocket, and you can count on more residents moving out. Currently, you have something about like 1,000 residents moving out of the state every week. That's projected to actually go up even more as we get into deeper into the fourth quarter and the top of the first. And now, in this state, we're not even going to bother enforcing actual laws that are on the table, so more people are already frightened. Yeah, you just can't make this up. It's got everything wrong with progressive politics without thinking about the constituents that actually voted these people in. So, in all seriousness, we need to figure out a better way to deal with this. My name is Sean Patrick Hillman. I'm the editor-in-chief of the Daily Mix TV. If you guys have any questions, comments, or story ideas, please email thedailymixtv@gmail.com. Have a great day, guys. We'll see you tomorrow on Tuesday.